Citation engineering is becoming a board-level communications issue because AI systems increasingly form brand and category conclusions from public evidence networks. The report frames this shift as machine relations, the practice of identifying, understanding, and improving the external evidence environment that influences AI-generated answers. For leaders, the important question is changing from "who covered us" to "which sources shaped the answer?" Hey, I'm Mark Huntley, founder and CEO of Siteworks Studio. At Siteworks Studio, we study how brands show up across Google, AI answers, and the public sources buyers trust before making decisions, and how that visibility turns into credible citations, comparisons, and recommendations. The report makes a simple but important point. AI systems do not form recommendations in isolation. The internal mechanics vary by platform, and outside firms do not have full access to proprietary ranking and retrieval systems. But modern generative systems increasingly combine language models with external information retrieval. The report cites Patrick Lewis and colleagues' retrieval augmented generation research as foundational context. Commercial AI search systems are more complex, but the strategic implication remains clear. The information available to the machine matters. If one company is repeatedly described by independent sources as easier to use, better tested, or more reliable, while another company's strongest claims live mainly on its own website, AI systems may reflect that imbalance. That is the operating field for machine relations. One of the strongest ideas in the analysis is the difference between raw visibility and influence. Traditional PR might count placements. Digital PR might count backlinks. Machine relations asks which sources repeatedly appear inside the evidence networks associated with AI answers. A niche trade publication, a technical comparison site, an industry association, a review database, or even a focused community may have more influence over a specific AI recommendation than a much larger publication with broader traffic. That is where citation engineering becomes different from link building. The report is careful here. Citation engineering does not mean manufacturing citations, paying sites to repeat claims, or building disguised link networks. It means engineering the conditions under which legitimate citations become possible. That can include original research, useful data sets, expert commentary, public methodology, independent testing, transparent pricing information, credible case studies, and verifiable statistics. The commercial target is broader than the hyperlink. The target is the citation relationship. The report introduces two measurement ideas that executives should understand. Citation rating is a proposed framework for identifying sources that occupy disproportionately influential positions inside AI citation and evidence networks. It considers signals such as cross-model appearance, recommendation proximity, independence, persistence, category specificity, and network position. The key insight is that a source cited frequently may not be the source shaping the conclusion. Brand rating looks at the other side of the problem: how strongly a company is positioned within the sources, claims, and evidence most influential to AI-generated conclusions. This matters because mention volume can mislead teams. A brand may have thousands of web mentions and a strong backlink profile, while a competitor appears positively across a smaller set of high-influence sources. In AI-generated shortlists, that smaller evidence footprint may matter more. The report calls this the citation rating gap, the difference between the sources a marketing team prioritizes and the sources machines appear to prioritize. For leadership teams, the most practical part of the report is the focus on evidence quality. A campaign with 74 placements may look successful, but another campaign with 11 placements could create more strategic value if those placements appear in high citation rating sources, add independent validation, improve comparative mentions, increase brand rating, and move AI recommendation share. This changes the KPI layer. The report suggests measuring high rating placements, independent evidence growth, brand rating movement, AI recommendation share, query level recommendation coverage, citation diversity, recommendation proximity, and persistence. It also explains why source correction can be more valuable than generating new mentions. If outdated pricing or an incorrect policy claim originates from one central comparison page, fixing that source with verifiable information may matter more than publishing dozens of low-influence brand claims. That is evidence correction, and it is a core operating motion inside citation engineering. The report outlines a workflow that turns LLM optimization into a measurable communications program. First, map machine opinion across controlled commercial and informational prompts. Measure recommendation frequency, rankings, attributes, positive claims, negative claims, and uncertainty. Second, reconstruct citation provenance. Identify cited URLs, domains, original sources, repeated claims, source dependencies, and whether evidence is first-party or third-party. Third, measure citation rating and brand rating. Then identify evidence gaps, missing validation, outdated information, unsupported claims, competitor narrative dominance, and weak source representation. Finally, build citation-worthy assets and conduct targeted human outreach to the journalists, publishers, communities, associations, creators, and experts who maintain the relevant information environments. The human relationship layer remains essential. Machine relations makes good PR more measurable by showing which relationships may have downstream machine influence. The leadership takeaway is straightforward. AI visibility is becoming an evidence strategy. The report also includes an important limitation. Machine relations is a working strategic framework proposed by Mark Huntley and Siteworks Studios. It is not a documented discipline or ranking system used by Google, OpenAI, Anthropic, Perplexity, Microsoft, or another AI provider. That matters because responsible teams should measure, test, correct, and improve evidence rather than assume they can control model behavior. If your buyers use AI answers to build shortlists, compare vendors, or validate claims, citation engineering becomes a practical way to ask better questions. Which sources shape the answer? What do they say? And what credible evidence is missing? That is where modern PR is heading.